This is Julie Pearson Littlefender with the Oklahoma Oral History Research Program at Oklahoma State University. Today is May 2nd, 2017, and I'm interviewing Chilocco alumnus and veteran Virginia McDonald Rush in Shawnee, Oklahoma, in partnership with the Chilocco National Alumni Association. Virginia, you're a Ponca tribal member. You graduated from Chilocco in 1956 and entered the Army from 58 to 60, approximately.
Approximately.
And I look forward to hearing more about your time at Chilocco, your military service, and a bit about your life since then. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you born and where did you grow up?
I was born in Shawnee, Oklahoma, and I grew up there until I was like 13. Well, I went to Chilocco then. I was only 13.
When you were 13.
And I lived there for 4 years. Of course, we got to go home in the summertime. And I grew to love it. It was like, to all of us that were there at that time, we were just like a big family. Because we did everything together. I mean, we all slept together, the girls. And then we ate breakfast together. We got up at 5 o'clock every morning. We had a detail to do before we went to breakfast, and I'm sure that was paying our way. And then after that, I was in the band, so I went from breakfast to the band room. And then we had regular classes. Half of it was vocation, so they were preparing us for our life's journey. And I ended up in the laundry twice when I was a freshman, and I don't know how that happened.
Maybe more than you wanted.
That was the hardest job there was, I think. And then I also worked in the kitchen for a little bit, and I think that's about the only places I worked.
I wanted to kind of go back to Hominy. First of all, so you were up there in Osage country.
Right.
What did your mom and dad do for a living?
My dad, it was my stepdad actually, Harry Charles Isoto, he worked in the oil fields. And my mother actually worked before she ever met Harry, when she's still kind of with my dad, sort of. He was a Rolling Stone, so we didn't see him very much. But she worked for Indians. They had, the Shunkamola Osages adopted my dad, and so because his mother, Julia, her name was Julia, also fast walker, she worked for them, and so then they took care of Daddy. They adopted Daddy, and he played football for the Hominy Bucks, and he was an all-state inductee, or what do you want to call it. And back then it was something to be one.
Cool.
And anyway, he like I said, my mother worked for the Indians, and she worked during the nighttime, sort of like an LPN now, but they didn't have LPNs back then. But she took care of him during the night, and she also learned how to understand Osage and Ponca, but she couldn't speak it fluently, but she understood what they were saying. Mm-hmm. So my little sister Judy, she'd take her to work with her sometime, and they would give her I don't know what they called it. I'm sure the Ponca and Osage languages are almost alike, but they used to give my little sister Judy a bucket, and they said it was her Oolash Day bucket, and Dad sent her home with food. Actually, she was a little brat. No. I think that's why Mom had to take her. But we didn't live very far from them either. So my mom, and she's like worked all her life, almost all her life. She worked, well, we're still in Hominy though, but later on she worked at different places, but she worked almost her whole life. And then before she passed away, my little sister Judy was an alcoholic, and my mother raised her 3 children. So I think I know it's awful to say that, but I think she would have lived longer if she hadn't had to take care of them. But then maybe they kept her alive too.
Right.
So one of her well, actually they're like her children because she had them from the time they were babies. So I jokingly say Monty, who lives here also, he could be my brother, my nephew, or my son.
Right.
3 in 1.
3 in 1.
Yeah.
So how about brothers and sisters?
My oldest sister was Thelma, and then me, I'm second, and then my brother Charles, and then my brother Paige. No, wait, did Judy come first? No, Paige. Let's see, Thelma, Charles, Thelma, me, Charles, Paige, Judy, Patsy, and I have a half brother named Roland. I also have a half sister named Fidelis Ann, and that was my daddy's daughter. And he also had another son. He was my brother, and his name was Donald Ray Bussey because Dad didn't marry his mother. So, and my sister Fidelis Ann, the oldest one of us, she was Osage also. So she was in Pawhuska. She grew up in Pawhuska. And her offspring was named Bobby Parker, and we didn't find him until later in the years, but then we got real close to him too. And she also has 4 more children that live in Portland, Oregon. We don't get to see them very often.
Right. So how about your relationship with your grandparents on either side?
On my dad's side, I didn't have any grandparents because they were already gone before we were born. And then my mom's, they were German, and so they were okay, but I didn't feel, they never did hug us or kiss us or anything like that. And neither did my mom, because she came from there, so she is doing what they did. So I made it a point, I said, when I have kids, I'm going to hug them and kiss them and whip them like my mom did. They say it's handed down from generation. And but back then we could get away with it, but now it's like a felon, I think. I could have been in jail back then. Oh my gosh.
So you attended school in Hominy prior to Chilocco, or where did you go to school?
Yeah, I went to Hominy Horseman, and I really loved it, kinda, sorta.
What was your favorite class?
My favorite class was probably art and sports was my favorite. We had this was in grade school. I was thinking about junior high, but I like to play marbles too, because I would get the guys that I knew couldn't play very good, and I'd get all their marbles. Oh gosh.
Oh, that's great. Well, how did you end up at Chilocco at 13?
Well, my stepdad, I don't know if he went to school there or not, but I know his brother did. His brother's name was Roland. That's my half-brother, Otto brother. His name's Roland, and he was named after my stepdad's brother who got killed at Chilocco. He was jumping barrels, ice skating, and he didn't hit the last one right, and it killed him. But anyway, that was Roland. And let's see, Harry told us about the school, because he knew about the school, and he wanted to know if we wanted to go up there, and we said we didn't know. So he took us up there. Him and my mom took us up there. And on the way down, there's a big long arch. I'm sure do you know it, seen it? Well,
all the siblings, or you and your sister?
Me and my sister.
Okay.
My older sister, just us.
Okay.
He took us up there, because I was just a freshman. I was only 13.
Mm-hmm.
And she was, I think she might have been, I'm trying to think. I think she fell one grade, so I think she was in the 10th grade when we went up there. But on the way, down the arch, there was a guy walking, so we picked him up. And his name was Virgil Yago. And so we stayed friends with him the rest of the time that he was there. And then when we went, we decided, we wanted to go. So then we came back home and got all ready and everything, and we went. And also at the same time, my two first cousins here, also Otto, they went. And so Joyce was my age and Jane was Thelma's age. Then we had two brothers from Hominy that went there named Billy and Dennis James. And then we had these other two kids that were named, her name was, oh, you might know her too. She's gone now too. Oh gosh, I can't think of her name. Their last name was Brown. Mm-hmm. And her nickname was Pumpkin. And her brother, I can't remember his name. But anyway, that's all, so we were all kind of close. But
so
then,
you already had family,
yeah,
an extended family.
And then on Home 3, I went to Home 3, that was a freshman girls building.
Right.
And there I met a whole bunch of my Ponca relatives, or, Poncas that I never knew. Because we were raised around my mom's side.
Right.
And stuff, so. Yeah, we were all real close, all of us. And I was real happy.
I'm just curious because you're coming from a public school background and you make that one trip to the school, and like you said, you meet that young man and remain friends. But what made the decision for you?
I don't know, because I guess I guess it was because we felt kind of freer, but yet we never had a very big house. And I guess it was hard for them taking care of us. And I'm trying to think if my mother worked then. I don't know, but we just decided, that we'd go. And then we made a lot of friends, and we're kind of like freer, sort of. We learned a lot of stuff up there.
You mentioned having to do detail. What kind of detail did you have to do?
Ew. I worked at home. They just gave us a specific detail to do, like you're going to do the halls. And our rooms had to always be super neat. Maybe that's why I'm messy now. I mean, the floors had to be shined, buffed. Our beds had to be made, and everything they'd come in. I mean, they'd use a white glove, And so then they would, if you could get a bathroom or the hall the lobby when you first came in, and to the right there was like a library room, and someone had to do that. Someone had to do the teacher's office or the matron's office. And what we'd do too is if we couldn't get the buffer, we would get our blankets and we'd pull each other up and down the aisles to shine our floors. We had a lot of fun too.
Who was one of the teachers that stands out for you? Could be for good or for bad.
Oh, I'm trying to think. Of course, I like Mr. D. Gregory because he was native, and Miss Arnington. She was an English teacher, and I liked English. It was one of my favorite. Besides art and
sports.
Yeah, sports. Yeah. In Hominy High School too, I played sports.
Okay.
I played basketball, and I was on an A team, and softball, and me and my sister played, not for anyone, but we played tennis all the time, me and her. So I guess we can go back to Chilocco.
What were your maybe one or two of the classes that made the biggest impression on you? You mentioned English already, but
I'm trying to think.
did you like the vocational aspect?
Oh yeah, I liked it. I liked it when I got to go to cosmetology class.
Okay.
I liked that. Miss Snell was our instructor, teacher.
Uh-huh.
I liked her. I don't know, I guess Miss Arnington, I don't know, it seemed like it was somebody else, another class that we were in. There was like my brother-in-law, now he's my brother-in-law, but he ran around with about 5 guys, and they all had nicknames. It was Flop, Slop, Ears, and I forget the other one's name, but they all ran around together, and what we would do, then me and Leella and Anna Willis was my close friend, and Juanetta Carey. Well, we would we would have one person do the homework, and then we'd pass it around to everybody. I don't know why they didn't ever get wise, or maybe they did. I don't know, but it was fun.
Oh, that's great. How about dances
Dances.
at the school?
Well, you mean like white man dances?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Were you aware of the, presence of the National Guard on the Chilocco
Oh
campus?
yes. Oh
Okay.
yeah. Uh-huh. Charlie.
Did you watch did they do parades at that point, or did
You know what? I think they did. They must have went with us when we went on band trips and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But my brother was trying to join the company, and my mother would not let him. She said she signed for me, and she was never going to sign for another one of her kids to go into the service.
Wow. Did she give a reason why? Or?
I guess she just didn't want us away from her,
Mm-hmm.
which I ended up away from her anyway because I joined the service.
But you did travel quite a few places with the band when you guys played?
Oh yeah, we traveled
What were some of
everywhere.
what were some of the
We
places
went
you
to Pawnee, or I think it was Pawnee Indian Days down there. We went to Guthrie. We went to I'm trying to think. We went to the state fair. I'm trying to think of where else we went. It was just wonderful because
Yeah, I
we
bet you enjoyed
got to get away from Chilocco. I said we were like birds let out of a cage.
You got to eat different food.
Right. No, they'd always send us sandwiches,
Oh,
sack lunches. We'd always go, we got sack lunches.
What were your impressions of the food at Chilocco?
Oh, I liked it. I did work in the kitchen
You
too,
mentioned that.
where they serve.
Uh-huh.
If you like somebody, you could give them a whole lot.
It made you popular when you were in the
It was
kitchen.
neat, yeah. Except you had to wear those hairnets and all that. Who looks good in a hairnet? Like now, their hairdos now, I think that they do look horrible. They don't even look like they're combed. They just kind of, clump them around and craziness. I don't like it.
After you explained that you had the cosmetology course, and that after you left Chilocco, you tell us what happened after you graduated.
I went home and started working in a beauty shop.
And you got hired.
Yes, but before I even got home.
Right.
I went a week before school was out, and they hired me. So then that's why I went to work the day after I got out of high school.
And what
I
was
liked
that
it.
like?
I really liked it. The lady that owned it was really, really nice to me. And there was another girl working there. I can't remember her name, but she really, really liked me too. So it was really neat. But I was saying before that, when I don't know how old I was, but I worked for this lady named Mrs. White in a little corner, like, cafe-like thing. And then my mom made me quit there.
How old were you?
I must have been 12 or 13. It was before I went to Chilocco. I have had so many jobs, it's not funny. I mean, you name it almost, I've done it.
Well, how did you end up joining the service?
Oh, my best girlfriend, Lee, she was going to school at Haskell after we graduated.
But you had met at Chilocco, right?
Oh, yeah, we were best friends.
Okay.
I mean, close. And I wish I had some pictures of me and her when we were in the service, because we did take some of us, you know. But I don't know what happened to all my pictures. They just kind of went by the wayside. What did we do? What was the question again?
How you ended up in the military.
Oh,
in
her.
the Army.
It was her fault. Then I told you, I think her boyfriend, now husband, if he's still alive, didn't like me because he thought I would talk her into it. But she probably told him that. Oh, Gina wants me to go, so I'm going to go. But she's the one that made me go. And so we thought we're going to be buddies all through, you know, and we'd go to the same place. And we had these big dreams about how we left because we were older than our boyfriends, Mickey and Keith Franklin, and we talked about how we're going to live next door to each other and raise our kids together and all that, but that didn't happen. They found somebody else, I guess, or we did too, I guess. So, anyway.
But you both ended up in the Army.
Both ended up.
And went to boot camp where?
Fort McClellan, Alabama. That was a trip too.
What was that like?
It was kind of fun because that's the life we lived at Chilocco. So it was just kind of like an extension to that. So we did some fun things, like we marched at night and we had to do that crawling under that barbed wire and all that stuff. And see what else, KP. I got KP one time and I had to sit outside and peel potatoes, and I mean there was this huge pile of potatoes about as big as this ceiling. I was just sitting out there peeling potatoes. Oh, it was awful. But then we used to drink too. We'd go to clubs, and I met this one guy that really...
Off base was an interesting experience.
Yeah. I met this one guy that he really fell in love with me too, and his name was Phil Sims, and he was from California, and he could dance real good too, so I really liked him. And Leella had her boyfriend then too, and it was just really neat.
So you two did manage. Were there any other Native women in your...
Yeah, there was.
boot
There was a
camp?
girl named Joan Chasing Hawk, who was Sioux, and I really liked her too. We had a lot of fun together. And then there was another one named Virginia Haffaday, but she was real quiet and standoffish and stuff. She wasn't loud like us. I mean, I was loud. Dee was she wasn't as loud as I was. But she was really beautiful too, Leella was. And she comes from a family of 12 brothers and sisters. And I still haven't been able to get a hold of her. That just irks me. I'm determined to find her or find out what happened to her. That would make a neat story. We could film that.
Yeah, I hope you are able to hook up with her.
Yeah.
So what about what happened after boot camp?
We got to go home. We flew for the first time in a prop job, and we didn't want to sit by the window, neither one of us. And then finally, when we got up there, we were fighting to sit by the window because we wanted to see out there what was going on. But that was fun. And then,
What was your mom's reaction when you came home?
oh, she was happy, very happy. Yeah, they're all happy. Then, let's see, from there. Well, from there I went to Fitzsimmons, and I liked it there.
And you worked there in what?
I worked
area?
in oral and operative dental assistant, dental. whatever you call them, interns. I don't know. But I really like both of them. I was just thinking about the clothes
It's
we had to
almost
wear.
like that's such a, it's really kind of a switch though from cosmetology to dental technician sort of, but you enjoyed that too.
Yeah, so then,
How
yeah.
about Denver?
I like Denver. I really like Denver. We used to go up in the mountains. There was a bar up there we used to go to called Sam's Club, and it was real neat. And let's see. Oh, like I said, I like to dance. Really a lot. And I met this one black guy that was. He could really dance. So me and him danced a lot together. We were good friends.
So you got lots of opportunities to go dancing.
Oh
there as
yeah.
well.
Oh yeah.
What about playing softball for the Army?
I did that when we went to when I got to my home base at Fitzsimmons.
Okay.
Yeah, I played softball there and I loved it. Loved it. We traveled by train to go to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, which is where Leella was stationed. And I got so happy. I mean, I was just overjoyed because I knew when I got there I was going to get to see her. Well, no. She went on leave to Oklahoma. So I missed her there.
You just missed her. Oh.
Yep, I was not happy.
But you had stayed in touch this whole time throughout your service, and you were staying in touch. Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, that's the last time I saw her.
How did the game go?
I don't remember. I just know we had fun. This one black guy was with us, a coach, and he was hilarious. Me and him used to just laugh and laugh and laugh. Oh my gosh, that was fun traveling too, because we had those bunk beds on the train, all of us
Right,
in there,
right.
boys and girls together. And I slept on the upper one, I remember, and it was really a lot of fun. That's the first time I ever did that. Fun, fun, fun.
And I think I read that you took some art classes in Denver.
Yes, I did. I took art classes and I mostly did charcoal, and I really liked it a lot too.
And you kept up your drawing after that.
I think I could have been a really neat artist if I had another thing. Let's see, where was it? Oh, this is jumping way up though, way up. Like the art thing. I went to a alcohol rehab program with my husband because he was sent there by I'm trying to think of the word for it. He was sent there because something to do with the law. I'm telling you.
Oh, it was part of the
Yeah, it's where they send them there.
court ordered.
Yeah, court ordered. Yeah, so anyway, he got all worked up and everything. He said he's not staying there, he's coming home. And I said, well, what if I come down there and go through it with you? Would you stay? And he said, yeah. So I went with him and stayed there with him. And that's when I did another art class
Okay.
there. And that lady, I did this painting and she liked it so much, she asked me if she could take it around and show it to people that see what could be done in rehab too. And I had that for a long time, and then finally it got messed up some way. But I still remember it and everything. And when we were in there in that rehab, there was this, I think he's a famous artist named Kevin Toneps, and he was supposed to draw me a little picture, but I don't think he ever did. But he was like real well known. I don't know if he's still alive. I think I heard he died, but that.
You definitely were artistically talented. Well, how do you think, as you look back, you said you've been doing many types of work since you were young.
Mm-hmm.
Once you got out of the service, was there an area you kind of focused on? course, you were having a family then too at that point.
Yeah, I worked for a dentist there's a little town from Circleville called Asheville, and I worked for a dentist there. And I think I met him through church, and he wanted me to stay, and that's after John was born. And then I just felt like I didn't want to do it. I wanted to, be there with John and, see his baby stuff. My babysitter wanted to take him away from me. She liked him so much. And I went, no way, Jose. I'm coming home, hey. Then I worked in Circleville. I also worked for a chiropractor. It's funny because the dentist I worked for, his name was H.H. Morrow, and the chiropractor I worked for was H.H. Shuttleworth. And I think he's still alive, isn't he, Jill? It just so happened that his son came to her wedding in Bartlesville. So
wow.
It's a long thing. I could just go on and on about everything. But
well, so how do you think your education at Chilocco helped prepare you for some of the things that you've done since?
Because they taught me how to be strict, and how to survive, and how to get along with people, and then taught me all the cleaning stuff, and plus all the people that were there were part of my life. And now when we see each other, we still just run and grab each other and hug each other. So, and our alumni's coming up.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, my brother's got me a room again. So
oh, great.
Last time I won a pin. When you buy tickets and stuff, bought a pin, and I gave it to my niece. That really helps me a lot. My sister's daughter. And then the year before that, I won a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh, that's
so now
cool.
I've got to do something, donate some stuff this year, pay it back.
For the raffle.
Yeah.
Are you a member of any Native Veterans group?
No, I should be. They've been asking me to. They wanted me and my son to join. The guy that called me and said that they would even waive the fee, which that was I think it's only $10 or something like that. But he passed away. But so I never did join. I need to though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to do that.
You need that representation by women.
Right.
Well, is there anything else that we should talk about that we didn't get to cover?
I don't know. What about you, Jill? Do you know of anything?
This is Virginia's daughter, Jill.
Of your Chilocco days, like your best friends, or I don't know what they want to know.
What do the reunions mean to you now? Maybe
They mean everything to me. The thing of it is, though, until this year, and I don't know about this year either, but I can only go to a few things because of my condition. And that's another thing I'm kind of looking forward to, too, is I'm on the list to get a electric wheelchair. And at first I didn't want it, and then I thought that what made me think was like, well, I could go to dances and have my chair, get out of it and sit in my other chair if I wanted to. And then I've never been able to go to the South Arena. What's it called now? Not Tommy, but the other one, Gus McDonald. That is my uncle, my dad's brother.
Yeah.
And of course, he made us famous. He made White Eagle famous. So I forgot what I was talking about.
With that chair, you would be able
Oh, with my chair, I'll be able to go to the South Arena, and Jill's always want me to come because she, I'm trying to think of what the word would be. She opened up a women's cloth contest, an old time women's
you're
cloth
sponsoring that.
And she always wanted me to judge, and I couldn't get up to the South Arena, but she had it last year. Didn't you have it in the Tommy Roughface Arena?
No, that's McDonald.
I didn't go there last year, did I?
Mhm.
The only year I got to judge was when they had it at the South Arena.
Mhm.
So they have that every year now. It's on about the 5th year, isn't it?
Yeah, and it started with 5, and now there was so many participants. I think they had like 40 contestants last
Oh
time. I
my
almost didn't
gosh.
have enough to give away, but pulled it off. It was
Yeah.
scary.
So donations, no. We need to go
That's a
around to
good
the
reason.
stores. Like I used to do, when I did work, the job that I really, really loved was working for the Iowa and Perkins Tryon School District as an Indian Education Coordinator.
Oh, okay.
So I met all those kids who I
Right.
still love them, and I just adopted one of them named Deanna Macosito, because her mom just died about a year ago, and we were close. Me and my husband were close to her mother and her brother, and we adopted Tony, or somehow or another, me and Jody, my husband, we ended up adopting Tony as our brother. And so that, and then I ended up working for Ponca City Indian Education Coordinator, and I love that job. And some of those kids, I can't believe it, because they're like, now they got their kids.
Exactly.
But I did a fashion show every year that I worked there. It's Indian Education Week, and I did that, and I loved that. It was so neat. And I thought about having one at Chilocco Reunion, but it takes a lot of organization to get it going and stuff.
Right.
So I thought about it, and I just kind of forgot about it last year, because I thought, and I didn't get around that. I couldn't get around that easy. But
There's
yeah,
still
I
some
love
good
that.
Designers, a lot of good designers out
She's
there.
Yeah.
really good at
And,
that.
Adeline,
I have a
in fact,
question.
I interviewed
I
Adeline
thought
not
of
too
a
long ago.
question. I thought of one. If you if there was a young person that was going to go through, a young Ponca that was going to go through to a boarding school and also to go to the military, what would you advise them?
Stay home. Oh gosh, I would say go for it. In fact, I tried to get both of my granddaughters to go, because my oldest granddaughter
To join the military?
no, to go to Riverside,
To go to Riverside. Okay.
and she kind of got in trouble because she's kind of that kind of way, and they ruined her, because they kept sending her off and off and off. And she came back a totally different person than she was, because she was so sweet and loved me, and wrote me some of the most wonderful letters about how she loved me and how I was number one to her. And then when she came back, she was different, like real rough and like that. She's still kind of that way too, but she can be sweet. I showed you her little girl, didn't I?
Yes. Yeah.
You should see her, Jill. She's in that one with her and Gina, or her and Brianna and Baby. It looks so cute, but when you pull it up big, she's sticking her tongue out.
I saw it on the internet.
She's laughed so much. She's a crazy little girl.
Well, I really appreciate your sharing all this with us, and
Yeah, I'm going through that with my other granddaughter. She's 13, and she dropped out of school because one of the teachers was bullying her. And then we tried to get her to go to Riverside too, of course, or to that other one, Sequoia. And she didn't want to go. And so we couldn't force her to go. But now she's like being homeschooled, but she's not keeping up. But Gina told me they're going to try to get her started in the 8th grade. She has a counselor too, and she's going to try to get her started in the 8th grade. And as for me, this feeling just came over me that I don't think she needs to go to Ponca City school system. I wish there was some way she could go to, what's the name of that school in Oto? Anyway, there's a lot of Indians.
Right, right.
You know what I mean?
Or it's just what,
Huh?
Frontier.
Yeah, Frontier School.
yeah,
See, they both went there
Where
for a while.
they would have that background in native.
They both went there for a while, and all those teachers used to tell Brianna she was the prettiest girl there, which probably did help her, but anyway. She's a case, that girl.
Well, I hope that you'll be in our thoughts, and
Okay, thank you,
prayers,
appreciate it.
she has a wonderful role model in you, so I'm confident that will play out well.
Mhm. We did live in some big old houses. I know Jill's want me to say that. In Ohio, we lived in this big old farmhouse, and it was really neat. And then we moved in town to this historical house that was, at that time, it was 95 years old.
Wow.
So now it would be how old? Almost 200, getting close. But it was so neat. I think about it a lot. I really
What a great-
enjoyed living there.
Great
And we
experience.
moved from there, I moved from there back to Oklahoma.
Back to Oklahoma.
Yeah. But my son, my oldest son, actually went back there, and the couple that was living there let them come in. So he got to go in and tour the house, and of course, they had updated it and they didn't update it historically. They did other things,
Right.
but it was neat.
Fun to be able to walk through those memories again.
But through it all, though, I am a born again Christian, and that's what's kept me going all these years, and still. We have some strong Christian people in our family too, so I appreciate that, and I
I have
appreciate
one more
Jill.
question I want to ask. It's
Okay.
important. How do you feel like I hope this didn't make you cry. No, but how do you feel like being a veteran mixes with the traditional values that we have as Native people, as Poncas?
I don't know what you mean.
How do you feel like being a veteran is? What does that mean to you as a Ponca, as a Native?
I don't know. It means it was structural, and that's the way our tribe's supposed to be.
Let me ask it a different way. How do you think being a veteran, do you think it makes you be as a responsibility, as like what she was talking about, a role model?
Like John used to always say, we were the way we were because we were veterans, and their dad. We were structured, like we would make them be like they're in the Army. You're in the Army now. Both your parents are veterans. But yeah, it means a lot to me, and it means a lot to me that some of my other brothers two of my brothers were in Vietnam, and they saw my younger brother was an engineer over there, and he saw a lot of stuff. Like they would build a bridge and they'd turn around and they'd be bombed.
Yeah.
He's lost one of his best friends they were in a dugout, and he got out to do something, and it blew up and just blew his friend all to everything. And then my other brother, I guess he was so honored. I mean, they said it was like he was more than Billy Walkabout. And that is one of the guys in the book. His name's Craig Camp.
Right.
Yeah. So, and he's going through a time right now. I try to call him because he just had his niece. He just lost his wife, in November, no, November, I think. And he just had knee surgery. So he's going through a time with that, with his
Yeah.
knee. And he just gets real lonesome because
Yeah.
he still misses, well, he misses Belle. And then I told him, like, I miss my husband every day. And I don't know if you're supposed to do that or not, but I can't help it because I keep thinking, well, I wish he was here so I could help him more, but it's the life he chose.
Well, thank you, Virginia.
You're welcome.